welcome back to my channel. It's me, Brenna, if you don't know me already. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about my trip to Hawaii and all the fun things and crazy things that happened. I didn't actually film when I was there, unfortunately. I just got busy and I really wanted to relax, even though I brought a massive backpack of gear. Didn't end up filming anything, but that's okay. Didn't use the mini camera that I bought, the little blue one, but that's fine. I took tons of pictures and videos anyways, so I'll be going in and out of voiceover mode. You'll see me sometimes explaining it, just to kind of talk about my trip and what happened. So I have a little list of everything to talk about. So the first video, this first clip is us driving out of the airport and going to the hotel, and then the view from the hotel. It was super beautiful, perfect weather the entire time we were there. It was in the mid 80s and mid 60s at night, so it was really cool. And then we got drinks on our first night there, and it was myself, my brother Pierce, his roommate Sam, and my mom that were all there. Fortunately, my dad could not come. He was called out to work. He is a pilot, so he could not make it in time with us, unfortunately. There's me on the first night at our hotel stay. My mom and I went out to go explore Barber's Point, which is just to the south side of the hotel. There's a very large marina outside of the Marriott down there. It was so beautiful. And then we got a weird call from Sam, who was like, we just evacuated our hotel. Apparently there was a fire and they were in the room when it happened, and the fire was right next door to our hotel room, so it was the hotel room directly next to us, caught on fire, and there was ash and smoke and char, and the water sprinklers went off. But if you want a whole story time about that, I can do a separate video just talking about that fire that happened. So leave a comment if you want me to talk about that, or thumbs up this video. After that, we just had to hang out around the hotel until we got the all clear to go back in our room. And then once we did, we saw a firefighter out sitting on the balcony. And because the hotel couldn't tell us what had happened yet, but we asked him and he said it was a stove fire. So we just thought it was really interesting that that was the cause. So then we had to get transferred to our new hotel, which was the Disney Aulani Hotel, which was really awesome, but we didn't like it for a couple reasons. One, it is geared towards kids. I mean, it would be fun if I was there with like my little cousins or if I was younger, but all the activities were based around a time frame for children, so everything opened super early and closed super early. So for us, all being in our early 20s, we all wanted to sleep in and stay out late, which was not really the time frame that Disney had set up for the activities. I mean, the pool would close at 6 p.m. Like, that was ridiculously early to me, I thought. And then here's a photo of plumerias, which is my favorite flower ever. They only grow in really tropical areas. I've only seen them myself in Hawaii and Thailand. You just can't find them in the desert or in dry, woodsy areas because it just can't support the humidity. We went to the North Shore, which is my favorite place in Hawaii. The North Shore is so beautiful. It's the most touristy, I would say, on the island of Oahu, but it's really gorgeous, and they have the best beaches, best food. We also went to Waimea Falls and Valley. It's a really beautiful arboretum that you can walk to, and they have a giant waterfall that you can swim in the water. You can't cliff jump or jump off the waterfall. You can only swim in the pool that it flows into, but it's super beautiful. Tons of beautiful trees and flowers and animals, and I think the brochure said it hosts like 5,000 species just in their arboretum alone. So I'll put in some pictures of that. None of us went swimming just because the water was gross and it was super busy, and they could only let a couple people in at a time, but it's definitely still worth the trip. We go every time we're in Hawaii. Then later that day, we just relaxed by the pool again and made dinner. On Thursday, decided to go to the Byodo Inn Temple, which I think was my favorite thing we did the entire trip. It's a beautiful, non-practicing Buddhist temple. It's kind of interesting because it's in the middle of a cemetery, so you have to drive through a cemetery first to get into the temple. And we got to go in. You have to take your shoes off before you go in, but they have a giant golden Buddha inside, so I got to take a picture of that. I didn't feel comfortable taking pictures of much else just because my minor at ASU was in religious studies, and I just think taking pictures of religious deities and artifacts isn't really appropriate, just because that is someone's worshipping icon. About it, I just really wanted to take a objective look at the site and really just study the history of it. And the grounds were beautiful. They also had an ancient bell that you could ring. So there was a giant post on a rope and you got to pull the rope and it would hit the gong. So I'll enter that video. And we decided to just drive around the grounds a little bit more. Then after the Byodo Inn Temple, we went up to a lookout point that views into Pearl Harbor, and it was an ancient passageway that native people used to travel through to get from one end of the island to another. Let's see, to Pearl Harbor Hickam Joint Air Force Base. My dad was also in the Air Force, so we do get access to Air Force bases. And there's tons on the island because it's the perfect halfway point between Asia and North America, so it's a very strategic point for many different reasons for the military, and there's a base for every branch of the military on Oahu or within the Hawaiian Islands. And so we spent some time on Hickam. It's super beautiful, some of the lightest blue, cleanest water I've seen in Hawaii. So we got to see a 6-ship formation flying over with the F-22s. And then the next day, I really wanted to go back to the North Shore because that was my favorite spot on the island. And so we stopped at historic Hawai'i, which is I think my favorite place that we went to in the North Shore was Hawai'i. It's right by the Waimea Falls. It's just a little bit more northern. And so we went to a macadamia nut farm and we got to see how macadamia nuts grow and how they used to be processed on these vintage huskers. And it's really interesting. The macadamia nuts actually look like tiny key limes. They're encased in like kind of like a rind, and then they husk them and you can eat the nut that's inside. And so we got bonsai bowls, which is super popular on the North Shore. And then finally we went to Three Tables Beach. It wasn't crowded at all. It had just started raining when we got there, so we just hung out in the car for a little bit and everybody else left, but it only rains for minutes in Hawaii. So after the rain passed, got on the beach, took some pictures, and then finally headed back to the hotel. And that was the end of the trip. And we left that night on the red-eye flights and got back to Arizona at 7 a.m. the next morning. And it definitely took me a long time to adjust back to even a 3-hour time zone change. But that night I slept 12 hours, and yesterday was my first full day back in Arizona, and I definitely have the island fever. I miss it. I don't know when I'll be able to go back, but I'm really lucky every time that we get to. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you liked it, and comment what you want to see from me next. Let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Subscribe to see what's next.